Okay, here we go. Expectations for October 22nd for language arts. I will write about the forces I use to clean. So that'll be a journal activity. I'll talk to you about that. I will choose a topic to write a paragraph for the newsletter. So we're also going to talk about writing a newsletter so that our family knows what we've been learning about. I will define words and tell others what a word means. Again, those definitions and those vocab words that we've been working on. I will remember one way a force can change an object. I will read a chapter and I will choose a book to read. Okay, this is one of the versions of the journal activity that you may have. So everyone's assigned a journal activity and they just might look a little bit different. So here's one. All of them are going to be journal number 3. It says, I use force when I clean my home. One job I do to clean is, and there's a little target. So the target means that there's going to be some clues. Oh, wait, at the beginning, make sure you put your date. Okay. Otherwise, it'll tell you you're not completed. So I'm going to click on this and we're going to see what options it gives us. One job I do to clean is sweep, mop, dust, wash windows, wash dishes, or vacuum. So yours may look a little bit different because everyone has different expectations and responsibilities at home. So I am going to choose wash dishes because
wash dishes.
Oh, that's really loud. Because I just finished washing the dishes at my house. So I use a what to do this job. So I use a rag. I used a rag to do this today.
Rag.
Because I did it right after we had supper. So the dishes didn't need a sponge and a scrubber today. All right, I have to what when I do this job? So remember we're talking about force, right? So how things are moving. So we don't necessarily think about force and motion when we're talking about cleaning, right? Because a lot of times we think of that with sports and activities. So here are our choices. I have to what when I do this job? I have to push, pull, use force, or move. So what am I doing when I am washing dishes? I'm doing probably more than one thing, right? I'm not pushing anything away. I'm not pulling anything close to me, but I am using force and moving, right? So if I'm using force to get things from one place to another and moving. So I'm going to say force because I really am using some force when I'm trying to make sure those dishes
Use force.
are clean. Okay, so if yours doesn't look like this, sorry, I'll also put the date on here. I think that's the 22nd. And then yours also might look like this. So again, this has a target. There are the same options. There just aren't pictures. So remember, you can click on them.
Sweep.
And it'll help you read them, okay? Something that I want to remind you about is each of these, see if I can zoom in, each of these has a little pencil mark. Please make sure that you click on those and put a period in at the end because otherwise it's going to tell you you're not completed with your work, okay? So make sure that you're checking for capitalization and then making sure that punctuation is at the end. Your journal also might look like this, okay? We are going to use the same language that we were using for the other two. Put the date on it. I use force when I clean my home. Now remember what those sentences were. What kind of chore you use, what tool you use when you complete the chore, and then what kind of force. Are you pushing, pulling, using force, or moving? Okay, so those 3 things. If you need help with that, just rewind the video and look at some of those other options, and that will help you to decide what you want to write about. If you have different chores that weren't on there, please go ahead and use those too. You definitely can. Those are just some options and some things so that you don't feel like you're getting stuck. All right, let's move on to our next topic. The thing that we are going to do today will look a little bit different just because some students are at home and some are at school, but we are going to do a planning web. So what this is brainstorming. So we have been talking about motion and force this week. So I'm going to put in here motion. That was our topic. And we can decide what motion looks like. So if this is our topic, all of these things will have to do with our topic, okay? So earlier last week, we talked about motion and we talked about sports and movement, right? Our previous book was about sports. What else do we do in sports? These can also connect. So we can also say kicking, We just talked about that we need to use force when we're cleaning. So some of these you can keep in here or do similar to mine, but you can also plan and brainstorm some other ideas about motion because that's what we've been working on. You can talk about, a baseball. Remember they said that they rolled a baseball, so you can even put things like push or pull. Some more of those vocabulary words. That's what this planning web is going to be. And then as the week goes on, next week, we'll use this information and brainstorm some more. We're going to take these little concepts. These are just ideas. That's what brainstorming is for, taking an idea, and then later we'll take that idea and make it into a phrase and then a sentence and then eventually a whole paragraph of all the things that you've been learning about. So this will build on each other. So right now it might just kind of feel like it's not complete. That's because it's not. It's just the first stage of writing. So this is just our planning stage, our brainstorming stage. So this will be another activity that that you need to complete today. There's also a read aloud, so we're going to get to that next. Here is our next chapter in our book, chapter 4, Speed and Direction. So I'm going to read this aloud to you. Sydney goes to the volleyball station. There is a big net set up. Mrs. Perez splits the students into teams to start a game. Sydney stands in front of the volleyball net. What sport does Sydney play at school? What is she playing? She's playing volleyball. You'll notice that there is a net, kind of like tennis, but volleyball nets are higher. And so it takes more force to get the volleyball over top of the net. And then in tennis, you use a racket. In volleyball, you don't need to. A player on the other team serves the ball. The ball comes right to Sydney. She uses her arms to hit the ball up in the air. When Sydney hits the ball, she pushes it up. The ball goes over the net. The ball hits the ground on the other side. Gravity pulls the ball to the ground. What force does Sydney use to get the ball in the air? Yep, when she hits the ball, she pushes it. Okay, so push is the motion that she's using. It is Sydney's turn to serve the ball. She knows where she wants the ball to go. Sydney can push the ball in the direction she wants it to go. She needs to use enough force to get the ball over the net. So how can she move the ball? Yeah, when she's serving, she is pushing it. Sydney throws the ball up in the air. She swings her arm in the direction she wants the ball to go. She hits the ball with her hand. The ball goes where she wants it to. Oh no! Someone on the other team jumps up and blocks the ball. The ball changes direction. It falls to the ground. What does the other player do to the ball? Yeah, they blocked it, right? So they used their hands and they blocked the ball so that it didn't go over top of the net. Sydney remembers that a force can change the direction of an object. The other player's hands stopped the ball from moving forward. The other player made the ball go the other way. Next time, Sydney will serve the ball higher. She doesn't want the other team to stop the ball. So, what can a force do to the direction of an object? So if there is another force and the ball is coming this way, right, then a force can stop the ball and make it go another way. So that's what happened. When somebody blocked the ball was coming, and then another force stopped it, and then the ball went another way. So force can also change the direction of the ball. Sydney remembers more about motion. A force can also change an object's speed. Speed is how fast an object moves. An object will move faster if it is hit with more force. An object will move slower if it is hit with less force. So what else can force do to an object? So it can change the direction, and then it can also change the speed, okay? So think about that. If you throw something and it hits into a wall, right, it's not going as fast anymore. It's changing the speed. It also is changing the direction, but it's also changing the speed. So force can do that. A ball that is moving faster will be harder to hit. The ball comes to Sydney. She uses more force and hits the ball hard. The ball goes fast. The other team can't get to the ball. The ball hits the ground on the other side. Sydney's team gets a point. She likes learning about motion by playing her favorite sport. So how do you make an object go faster or slower? Yep. It's the more or less force that you use. All right, so this is the end of that chapter. What I want you to do now is you're going to go in on your unique page and you're going to read the chapter aloud. You can read it to someone, or you can create a video recording. If you forget how to do that, go onto your Google Classroom page and there is a how-to video of how to make that video recording, or I can help you in class, or we can meet on Google Meet and I can help you with that as well. But I'd like you to do that video recording of this story. And then I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think there might be another story last thing, sorry, I cut myself off, is there is an assignment on here called the Simon Science Series, What is Gravity? So here is the story that you can read aloud. If you want to do a voice memo of that, a voice recording, that would be great. So you'll see the chapter 4 lesson, your journal entry, and then this What is Gravity story as well. So don't worry, we'll work together, but you're doing a great job. Thanks for everything you do. I'm proud of you.